All right. So today's historical anchor is going to be about police brutality, and I'm going to give you.
I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, I'm going to give you about 5 examples. So we'll start with the very first documented case of law enforcement misconduct in San Diego, which occurred on May of 1870, when Cave Couch was arrested by a San Diego deputy sheriff for shooting a man.
Wow.
Now, while he was in jail, Couch was beaten by the sheriff, whose name was James McCoy. And when Couch got out of jail, he turned around and sued McCoy that September. He was hoping that he would have the trial somewhere else because McCoy, who was the local sheriff, was so popular that he didn't think he would get a fair trial. The judge heard it, and he was like, nope, case dismissed, and you get to pay the sheriff's court fees.
Wow.
So that was the very, very first, at least documented case that I could find. About 100 years ago in the Watts area of Los Angeles, we all know what happened. About 2 years after they adopted the protect and serve motto.
Yeah.
In 1965, CHP pulls over and subsequently beats a black drunk driver, and was, as well as his mother and brother,
Wow.
in
The
front
whole
of
family,
in front of local residents, and
Wow.
it angered them so much they began throwing bottles and rocks at the officers,
Nice.
and it led to 6 days of riots in Watts. It left 34 people dead.
Wow.
It was so bad that Martin Luther King had to come down and try to keep the calm afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Right? So,
Powerful.
yeah, that's another example. Fast forward to 1991, still in LA. Rodney King and his 2 brothers, or 2 others, were driving downtown San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles when they began to be pursued by highway patrol. Now, he was already on parole, so he didn't want to be pulled over. So a chase went on for about 8 miles before King was cornered by LAPD. The other 2 were pulled out of their car, they were kicked, they were taunted. King came out of his car last. He was tasered, he was kicked, and then he was beaten with batons for well over a minute before being dogpiled on and arrested.
Wow.
And the beating was actually caught on camera. And so a few days later, it aired on the news, and it caused such a backlash that it actually led to officers being arrested and tried. But only 1 officer was found guilty of assault with a deadly weapon, and the rest were acquitted of everything else.
That's 1 out of how many?
Oh, it was a group of them. It was a group of them.
It was a small posse.
Yeah, it was a small posse.
Wow.
And so just 1 of them was found guilty, and so it sparked 3 days of riots in Los Angeles, and it killed 53 people.
Wow.
53 people got killed as a result of the riots, or like amongst the,
As a result of the riots.
not execution, not, people got killed because of the riots.
Well, there could have been.
Gosh, that's insane to me. I just don't understand. I don't understand how our reaction is so predictable. As humans, we riot when things don't go our way, or when we're upset, or when we're even happy. We riot when we have a good football season or football game or whatever. I don't understand how that reaction is. We can predict that. We know that's going to happen. But if someone raises their hand at you or has a weapon pointed at you, we don't expect them to react as a human.
Right. Yeah. It's weird. But so those are some of them. There's a couple more that happened here in San Diego. If you fast forward to about December of 2012, there's a 21-year-old with Down syndrome whose name was Antonio Martinez.
Okay.
Yeah, and so he was walking to his family's bakery when a sheriff deputy pulled up by him and ordered him to stop.
For just randomly.
Now, yeah, there was no reasonable suspicion to stop him, which is actually what you need. He just wanted to stop him.
Right.
Having Down syndrome, the guy Martinez kept walking.
Okay.
And so this made the officer mad. He had some sort of God complex or whatever. So he got out, ran up to him, sprayed him with pepper spray,
Wow.
took out his metal baton, and started beating him bloody.
My goodness.
And the family came out and started watching this happening, and they started screaming for him to stop because they had Down syndrome and stuff.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why somebody with Down syndrome wouldn't stop.
Yeah,
That's not right.
Yeah, and so they took him in, and they tried to charge him with delaying an officer in the performance of his duties.
Ugh.
That was what they tried to charge him with. They dropped it the next day because he had no reasonable suspicion to stop him in the first place.
Sure.
And then,
Sure.
and then 3 years later, the city settled with the family for about $1 million. So that tells you all you need to know.
What it tells you is that people are putting more value on dollars than life.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, who would accept money for what they just went through?
Mm.
Why? What does the money do?
We do
That
live in
is-
we do live in
Allows us to keep going with
capitalism.
that is
Right, that's absolutely
But-
right. But capitalism would be nothing
It
without
could
our
be
value.
considered hush money
Yeah.
to make the families go away.
No,
Well, I
go
can-
where, what does that mean? Go
to be
away.
honest with you.
Go where?
I can lay
Just go
on
home.
into this. My family has 3 different cases on the government, and if we do get financial compensation for the loss of my brother's life, which there is no price on, most of those financing will go towards fighting the legislations that weren't there to protect him. That's what that is. There's a way to combat that, and I can't speak for everyone in everyone's family and what they choose to do with their earnings, how they choose to use it, but I know that having the heart that we have in our family and the foundation that I have founded within our family, that there are reasonable and respectable ways to use that financing and move forward with that. Some people might just splurge it on a house and a lifestyle, but I can't say that is something that my family's looking forward to do. We're not looking to get paid here. We're looking to continue doing what we need to do. I thank you guys very much. We're going to be coming on our commercial break. See you after that.